Alright, watch fans, this is the one. I can't believe we're doing this. Wing has really stepped things up. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction, let you know what's going on. You can make your purchasing decision, and for those that are interested, that want to learn more about the design inspiration of this timepiece, the movement, and some other great things, we'll add that behind this. But here's the introduction. Android, Tattooed Dragon. You have two options in this particular timepiece, actually three. There is a black IP version that is available. There's only a handful. Most of you, by the time you're seeing this, that will be sold out, because those that are on my early notification email list find out about this about an hour before it's available to anybody else. I'm going to assume those are gone by the time most of you see this. So scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. When you're done, put in your name, your email address. You'll be on the list, and I don't spam you. But here's the thing, okay? Blue IP plating in a 50 millimeter case that is 20 millimeters in thickness, multi-layer custom dial work, 100 meters water resistant, hardened mineral crystal, impact resistant and scratch resistant, done on a 24 millimeter wide genuine leather strap, contrast stitching, box stitching, softly pebbled on the strap with quick change pins, push-pull crown, texturized, angled, fixed bezel, Seagull TY-2807, excuse me, automatic movement, 21 joule, 21,600 vibrations per hour. This is the option in the IP blue, and the other option that is available in quantity is going to be the gold version of that. 18 karat yellow gold over top of the 316L stainless steel. Differences that you're going to find is the cutout dragon, the customized secondary dial work that's done on this is going to be done in purple. The blue option gives it to you in the blue. And then the strap is done in the brown. Let me see if I can turn that and give you a good look at. See how thick that is? You're looking at about 4.3, 4.5 millimeters in thickness. Very, very supple. There you can see the pebbling, the very soft texture that's done on there. You can see the contrast that's done in the stitching. But here's the deal. $56, folks. $56. That is utterly ridiculous. You can get the gold tone or the blue, and if there's any of the black, they're all $56 and will ship to you in the standard Android box. However, Wing stepped it up a notch. The blue, if you want that, he's running a special deal. You can order two of the blue that will ship to you in an Android 3-slot box for $108. So any single watch for $56. Or the blue only, you can get two in a 3-slot box for $108. That, my friends, is absolutely incredible. And keep in mind, Wing is retiring this watch. That's one of the only reasons he's willing to run such a crazy price on these timepieces. It is the lowest price point I've ever seen Wing do on an automatic timepiece. Okay? And I've been watching Wing sell his watches since about 2000. So this is the time to jump on it. If you got one of the other colors. Now he sells these on his website for $250. I believe they have been on Shop HQ for about $100 as a today's top value, right at or just under $100. So no matter what option you take here, you are getting an incredible deal. Gold or as we try to softly pan back over, blue. So now that you know what the deal is, you may want to go make your purchase. Otherwise, I'm just going to get into a more detailed review of the watch and the movement and hopefully give you some information you didn't have before. Great deal here. Hotness. Okay, for the demonstration or the more detailed look at this particular timepiece, which is, by the way, again, the Android Tattooed Dragon, I'm going to use the blue IP plated version, which I think is the most unique, and if I had to pick one out of the two, that would probably be the version that I would go with. One of the reasons is it's a very unique look on the wrist. Number two, I think this is going to be the most versatile of the options available. Many of you have probably heard me say before, it's easier to dress a watch up than it is to dress it down, and I really think in the blue option it provides you the easiest way of being able to have both looks, the dress and the more casual look to that. So what are we looking at besides a crazy price of $56 on an automatic timepiece? You're looking at 50 millimeters in case diameter. So again, remember that we're measuring the watch the way you see the tool laying on there, or you can go this way as well. Either would be acceptable. It would measure obviously the same. You're looking at about 20 millimeters in overall thickness. So we'll turn this a little bit here so you can see the side of the watch case. Now, vertical finish that's been done on it right here, as you can see. Notice again something that I've tried to point out to you on several timepieces, and that is going to be the shortened lugs, meaning they don't protrude as far. Now on a larger timepiece, this is key. When you combine that, the short lugs, with the fact that this is on a very wrist-conforming, very soft, very supple, genuine leather strap, even though it is very substantial, meaning the thickness, about 4.3 millimeters or so in thickness. If you want to, just call it 4.5. You might be a little over, but you get the idea. Those two things combined means that it's going to fit on a smaller wrist very, very easy as well. Okay, so yeah, if you've got a super tiny petite wrist, sorry, this is probably not going to be the watch for you. I really think anywhere from about, I don't know, 7 1/4, 7.5 on up, this is very, very doable. And do keep in mind, with the quick change pins, you can give it some different looks. As a matter of fact, I've got some photos up at the top of the web page where you see those photos automatically going through. Be sure you watch through all of that. Towards the end, gives you some options on some bracelets that are available on the Android website at a very reasonable price point. So you can get a couple of different looks going on with this particular watch. I'm going to turn this back around a little bit, find a spot where we don't get too much glare going on. There we go. Impact resistant mineral crystal. So again, very, very durable. You can hear the thumping of that. Very thick impact resistant mineral crystal, and will be hardened mineral crystal, resistant to scratches to a very large degree as well. I want you to notice first of all the bezel that's been done on this. It is an angled bezel. Now why is that important? Let's go back to the side again for a second here so you can get a little bit of perspective. See how that is angled up from the case, so it's wider down here, smaller up here. This is one of the techniques that can be used to make the watch appear to wear a little bit smaller. So if 50 millimeter watches aren't necessarily your thing, there's a little bit of an optical illusion with this angled or beveled fixed bezel, and you can see it does have the concentric racetrack style circles running all the way around it. What it'll do is give you the impression, because of the ratio of the dial opening to the rest of the case, of the watch being a little bit smaller than what it actually is. So if you're comfortable in about a 47 to 48 millimeter range, you can wear this watch, no doubt. For lovers of a little bit of an oversized watch, such as myself, this is perfect. 50 millimeters case diameter, 20 millimeters thick, 24 millimeter wide genuine leather strap as well. Now, the hands, hour and minute hands, you'll notice they do have lume. That is Super Luminova at this price point. As you're used to seeing, that smooth sweeping second hand is the custom Android second hand. So on the back end of that, the weight end, as some would call it, you are getting the AD logo that you're familiar with, and you'll see that matching on the crown. It is a textured crown, as you can see, makes it a little bit easier to operate. We're talking about right here, so that when you go to grab that, and I don't know how to do this. One of the photos at the top in that slider, or that carousel of images, I'm going to try and tilt this by hand and not bounce it around. See the cutout there underneath the crown? Makes it a little bit easier. See, Wing just pays attention to these details. Makes it easier to be able to get in there and manipulate the crown. Now obviously it's push-pull because it's only 100 meters water resistant, but it's that added little touch that really helps take place there. While we're turning things, let me go ahead and show you the back side here where you can get a good look at the strap. Very softly pebbled, and what we're talking about is that little bit of texture there. Now it's not really, you know, an alligator or a crocodile pattern that's been done on that, but very softly done. This option is going to give you the blue stitching to go with the blue timepiece. Now the other option that we had, I showed that to you, hopefully you saw it, brown strap to go with the gold tone and the purple that is the dragon itself, and then slightly contrast brown stitching that had been done on that one. But this is going to give you the blue against the black that's been done on this particular timepiece. Now let's roll this back around and let's talk about the dial and the name. Now look, I know this may surprise a lot of you folks, because I know most folks think Wing is, you know, from like Sweden or Norway or maybe even the Netherlands. Some crazy guy wrote me in and said, oh, I think he's from Indiana. No, no, no. Wing is Chinese. I know it may surprise you guys, but trust me, I've known him for years. Good friend. He is Chinese. And it is that Chinese influence that really comes into play on this timepiece. So the dragon is obviously a hugely important cultural symbol for the Chinese. And it dates back century upon century, going all the way back. For instance, when China used to have an emperor, they actually thought he was part dragon. The throne was called the dragon throne or the dragon seat. I mean, it goes all the way back. And dragons are also very popular in tattooing, which is a part of the Chinese, or some aspects of the Chinese culture, and really the Asian culture in general as well. And it means a variety of, you know, powerful, influential, intelligent. I mean, there's all kinds of dragons, and it depends on if they've got 3 fingered claws or 5-fingered claws, or whether they're holding the pearl knot. You can really get into that. So that's aspect 1 that this comes from. And what I'm going to do, and bear with me here because things may shake around, I'm going to try and get in really tight on the dial and try and avoid a lot of glare. Okay, so we got the whole HD thing going here. Now what I want you to notice is this is a multi-layered dial. So if you look around the outside edge in the silver tone here, that is a separate piece that is obviously cut out, because as you can see sitting inside of there is going to be the Seagull movement that's being utilized here. Now sitting on top of that as a secondary layer is the dragon, right? So hopefully you can see his head. There's his eye that's done in the red. Here's the open mouth. Here's the tongue that's coming out of that. You can see some of the fangs. And then you have the spikes that are going all the way back around here. That is a secondary piece that is custom made and custom plated in this particular case, the blue IP. Remember, the gold tone version is going to give you a more purplish tone on the dragon. But that has some cultural influence as well. And where Wing drew this from was what is known in China as jianzi, which basically means paper cutting. So if you're old enough, like I am, to remember being in grade school when they actually gave you scissors, right? Which I don't think they do anymore. But remember, you had the little school box, the lid that flipped open, and you had the glue and the scissors and the pens and the crayons and the markers and all that kind of stuff. Right. So the Chinese, remember, they invented paper back in the Han Dynasty. What they have was different ways of what you may remember, like around Christmas time. Remember, you'd fold up the paper and you'd cut it and then you unfold it and it'd be like this crazy snowflake. Or it's kind of like Japanese origami, which is paper folding. This is paper cutting, the jianzi. And Wing used to do that as a child. So that's where this concept came from, the jianzi paper cutting. And obviously using it in a dragon style, which again ties back to that whole cultural configuration. So it gives it a very unique look on the dial, really draws the eye into the dial work, which for me is how a watch should work, the design. It draws the eye in, more towards the center portion of the watch, and then the person's consciousness, so to speak, of that timepiece expands outwards to take in the rest of the watch. That's why I'm so crazy about dial work, and this one certainly delivers in spades. The other thing to know too is the dragon piece is a separate piece, as I said, but there is a custom method used to attach that to the outer dial work, that secondary piece, in this case that outer silver ring. Very secure process in the way that it's done. So very cool look, a lot of detail work, a lot of customization, and a very culturally specific design, not only to Wing but to the Chinese culture as well. Peeking through that, obviously you can see the fully skeletonized and decorated Seagull movement that's being used in there. You can see some of the decoration on this bridge that's viewable right here. You can see one of the 21 ruby jewels sitting inside of the balance wheel, which is available going back and forth, that you can see right there where I'm pointing at. And remember, it does that 21,600 times per hour. We're going to do a whole little section on Seagull and the movement. I'll show you the exhibition case back. It is done on this, so you can see a little bit more of the beauty of this particular movement. Okay, so I flipped the watch around so we can see the exhibition case back here, and I'm trying to keep as much glare off of the timepiece as possible because I wanted to talk in particular about the movement that is being utilized in this. So as I said, this is the Seagull TY-2807. Now, there's a variety of different things that come into play here. First of all, yes, this is a Chinese automatic movement, freehand, 21,600 vibrations per hour. Now, many of you may be like, oh, I've heard horrible things about Chinese movements, and I don't want Chinese movements, and the quality's not there, they're not as good as this, yada, yada, yada. Now, years ago, that would have been a true statement. They were very shoddy. They were still under a very old communistic kind of thought process there where they weren't really concerned about quality. They were only really concerned in turning out numbers. This is not the case now. The advent of what is known as bamboo capitalism in China has really changed that, and Seagull in particular has really led the way in making high quality movement. So first of all, don't be afraid of a Chinese movement, and don't believe everything you read on the internet. Not everything you read there, I know it's going to surprise a lot of you, is true. Okay? So let's dig into that a little bit deeper. Let's talk about Seagull for a second. Tianjin Seagull Watch Group, I think, is technically their legal name. And these guys are what I refer to, and I started doing this years ago, as the ETA of China, or the ETA of Asia. And it really is true. Seagull's been around since about 1955, so January of 1955. So not quite 60 years. We'll go ahead and call it 60 years. I think January would be 60 years if I'm doing math, which is a dangerous thing for me to do, but we'll just hold at 60. Now, when it comes to volume that they produce about 1/4 of all the watch movements used in the world, and about half of what is used in China. Now think about that just in China alone. There's a lot of people in China, right? I think they're the largest population country-wise in the world. That's a lot of watch movement, 1/4 in the world. Now, over and above that, this movement is really going to be triple checked by the time that you receive it. What do I mean by triple checked? Well, the watchmaker that assembles this movement, because remember, there are no machines, at least yet, that can build an automatic or a mechanical or an automatic mechanical, same thing, or they're pretty much the same thing. Let's not dig into that right now. So that watchmaker, when they finish assembling it, they have their own set of tests, and then Seagull obviously itself has another set of quality control or QC checks before they send it out the door. So Wing has these movements that have been checked now twice, sent to his facilities that he owns in Hong Kong. Then the third check takes place, and the fine-tuning and adjusting for accuracy on this particular movement as well. So you're getting not only a much better movement, Chinese movement, than you would have found years ago, but Wing has added another layer of quality control on top of that, so you can feel very comfortable in what it is that you're purchasing. Now, the TY-2807 is based upon, in large part, the Miyota 8215 movement. Many of you will be familiar with that. Many of you, like myself, will own many of those 8215s in your own particular collection. But they've made some changes to this. First of all, it is fully skeletonized and decorated. As you can see going through this case back shot, even the rotor you can see is decorated and skeletonized, as well as the rest of the movement. They use, as you can see right here, furnace blue colored screws that have been done on this particular timepiece as well. And then you may see glimpses of other screws that are there. 21 joules. 21,600 vibrations per hour. And remember, when we're talking about that, we're talking about that little wheel, which is known as the balance wheel. It's part of the escapement, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right there. That is the heartbeat, if you will, of the movement. 6 times per second it is making that back and forth rotation, and that's how you come up with the 21,600 vibrations per hour. Now, in addition to the skeletonization and the decoration that's been done on that, this movement is a hacking movement, which means if you were to pull out the crown, it will freeze that movement. Now, that is an enhancement over top of the 8215 design that's been done on that. And you can also hand wind this via the crown, which again is an upgrade or an enhancement to that particular design. So you're getting a great looking movement, and of course this is going to be, again, impact resistant mineral crystal that has been done on that. But coming from one of the really top movement manufacturers now in the world. You know, we were talking about Seagull in 2010 in the city of Tianjin, just about an hour outside of Beijing, is where they have their super new modern facility. And there they are building fantastic mechanical and automatic timepieces, and even more specialized pieces such as multi-axis tourbillons. And by multi-axis, I'm talking about, you know how the tourbillon cage rotates? So if you've ever seen something by one of my favorite watchmakers in the world, and a very cool guy, Thomas Pressure, not only does it rotate, you know, clockwise, but then you get multiple axis, meaning it rotates over the top while it's rotating to the side, or even as Pressure did, Thomas Pressure, a triple axis rotating tourbillon. They make watches that sell, I mean, just some of their mechanical stuff for $10,000. And of course, when you get into tourbillons and multi-axis tourbillons, you're talking even way more than that. They have a facility now in Switzerland where they are producing Swiss-made timepieces. I know a lot of the Swiss really don't want to talk about that, but it is true. So you heard it here first or second. I don't know if other folks have brought that up, but that is actually the case. And I did want to point out one other thing before we wrap this up. I know some of you may be saying, you know, Mike, I'm trying to look at that gorgeous movement, and you left that really annoying sticker they put on the back of the watches. No, actually I didn't. One of the things that Wing did here was via, I believe, laser etching. That dragon that you saw on the dial is now etched into the crystal. See that? Now I'm trying to hold this with multiple hands and try and point, so bear with me if it bounces a little bit. See the spines of the dragon going along there? I mean, the entire thing is it. Now that's in the crystal, not on top of the movement itself. Now obviously the light's going to play a little bit different. Let me try and get that back in focus and some of the glare off of that, and you can see it a little bit better. So that is not a sticker, and again, there you can see some of the decoration being done along the outside as we look at the top plate. And yes, I know this is the back of the watch. This is considered the top to the watchmaker because they build it from the dial side down, like what you see it now. Okay. There's the rotor. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention that. One of the additions. I'm so glad I let this. See, when I talk too long, I remember things, which is a good thing for you. This watch does wind in both directions, meaning there's a dual set of winding gears that have been utilized on this. So think ETA 2824, think Sellita SW200. And I've got to look that up. I think the Soprod A10 does that as well. Not 100% sure on that. But again, another feature making it slightly more expensive to build, more components, takes more time, and a more efficient movement, meaning there is no free spinning. No matter which direction this goes in, it is applying winding power to the mainspring as you are wearing it. So there you go. That's it. I'm trying to keep this video a little bit shorter. Don't know if I managed to accomplish that or not, but $56 for this watch. In the blue, in the gold tone, if there's by any chance any of the black IP, those are all single individual purchases at $56 a piece. $108 will get you 2 of the blue only. And they will ship in a 3-slot Android box. There's a picture of that, I believe, in the way I've designed this on the page, just above this video. If not, it's just below. You can't miss it. I tried to really highlight that. So $56 for a single watch, $108 for 2 of the blue in the 3-slot box. One for a watch friend that you're really close with. Maybe a family member you're trying to get into watches, or you've already got them into watches. Think birthdays, anniversary gifts, Christmas. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? And here's the thing again to remember. I know I've said this before, but I want to be very, very clear on this. Wing is retiring this model. When they are gone, they are gone. You will never, ever get the opportunity to purchase this watch, at least brand spanking new directly from Android, at this price. Okay? So take advantage of it while you can. And I don't know if I showed it, but I'm going to real quick. I'm sorry. I said we were done. I lied. Get over it. I did want to point out, on the 24mm wide strap, there is your quick change pin. And just to show you again, I know some of you have heard me mention this, look at the beautiful stitching, and you can see the Android that's been done on that. But look at the beautiful stitching. What do we say about quality leather straps? What do you look for? Stitching on the back side. Same size of stitch. Straightness of the stitch. Right? Spacing between each one of those stitches. High quality, very supple, very comfortable leather strap. Okay, now I'm done. We're finished. Grab this while you can. The last Hotness Pick with Android sold out in about 1/3 of the time that we had planned to run it for. I think this is, even though we have many more of these available, I think that's going to be the same case. The $56 price point is absolutely nuts. So make sure you grab yours very quickly and get on my early notification list. Remember, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, put in your name, your email address, click that little submit button. You will be immediately added to the list. I don't spam you. I send out very few emails, but you will be among the first people to know each and every time we do a Hotness Pick. So there you go. This one's done. Grab yours while you can. I like the blue, but if you like the gold, grab it. Thanks for looking. This one is hot. And by the way, Wayne, how are you going to top this one?